Hello and welcome back to video number 4 of my Paradox Interactive historical playthrough mega series, playing as the modern-day nation of Turkey. I'm Admiral Jedi, and we are playing Europa Universalis as the Ottomans. This is video number 4. With this video, we've reached the midway point, about the midway point of the Europa Universalis series, and we've probably reached the largest extent that the Ottoman Empire will and did ever reach. So you can see us here with reaching all the way out into Tunisia, Egypt, up into Hungary, and also Crimea really is, the Crimean Tatars are loyal vassals of ours, rebellious vassal, well, rowdy, I should say, vassals, according to the reading and research that I've done. So this is probably a good time to really talk about the rest, where the rest of this video series is going to go. With the Ottomans really kind of reaching their peak in the late 1500s, early 1600s, it's kind of all downhill from here, unfortunately. So we'll talk about that in a minute, but let's first of all talk about a couple of things. There are a couple of current inaccuracies that are kind of bugging me. One is Persia should exist. It does not. And Ajam is here, and in fact, I'm currently allied with them. Super historically inaccurate. Because I'm basically trying to go like, hello, hello, you know, get your stuff together and convert to Persia. I'm trying to get them to convert to Persia, actually. So, totally non-historically, we fought and acquired this final territory from the Timurids, which I think once they core it, they will convert to Persia, so hopefully we will look to that happening sooner than later. The Persia-Iran nation was a major nemesis, enemy, rival on the eastern boundary of the Ottomans for hundreds of years. So for them to not exist and be our allies is completely historically inaccurate. Another inaccuracy is we should have Moldavia as a vassal, and we do not. So that is kind of lame. We're going to do some war, probably this video, against the Commonwealth, and hopefully correct that problem. And then the final inaccuracy is the Ottomans also, much like the previous Mamluk Egyptians, fought a lot against Portugal in this area here, in the Red Sea area, because Portugal ended up, I think I mentioned this in a previous video, rounding the Cape of Good Hope and finding a sea route to bring spices directly to them and bypass all these silk roads here and cut basically Egypt and the Ottomans completely out of the spice trade, which was devastating for them economically speaking. And so the Mamluks and also the Ottomans continued to, or I don't say continued, tried to find ways to cut themselves back in, and this brought them into conflict with Portugal, especially in this area here. And if we go to this trade node here, this was a significant trade node where a lot of battles were fought by the Ottomans and the Mamluks, but by the Ottomans against the Portuguese. And I would do that either in the form of privateering, or definitely in the form of privateering, and also in the form, and so we do see Portugal beginning to have a presence here. In fact, I just noticed this. So what I'm doing now to simulate that is privateering in Seville, where Portugal has a majority of their trade, and so you can see that I have some privateering that's going on here. And how much money am I making from that? Not too much, but every once in a while a treasure ship comes in and, you know, I capture some. So those are some of the current inaccuracies. Now let me also talk about what's not really represented, or what I'm not really showing. And that is, throughout the course of this research, there has been a ton of The Ottomans took this city. The Ottomans lost this city. The Ottomans took this city. The Ottomans lost this city. So basically, there were many, 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 many wars. If the wars are really inconclusive, I'm just not really doing them because there's kind of no point. I have thought, well, maybe I should do them just to sort of rough them up and rough myself up and, you know, not have a million manpower forever. That would probably be good, not only from a historical representation, but also to make sure that one of my rivals doesn't become just so overpowered by way of me not challenging them at all that, you know, next thing I know, they do a world conquest or whatever. That would be kind of lame. But anyway, for the most part, I'm not really doing that. Another thing that I'm not representing in the videos a ton, but I will talk to you about it right now, is the Ottomans did and do eventually fall behind technologically, which of course is, you know, one of the reasons for them not really existing anymore. And so I'm simulating that by way of not working hard on certain institutions that they did not pursue. So we're gonna be not doing a lot of that, actually. For example, colonialism, obviously we have it now, but I did not do any state spreads, you know, state institutional spreads. And you can see, I'm pretty sure we're also not doing, yeah. So I'm not doing any of that. In fact, let's just turn that on. How can we do that? Okay, states and territories, but I thought there was a way. Sorry about this. It's going to be like state edicts or something like that. Okay, here's institutions, but that's not what I'm looking for. State edicts, there we go. Okay, so here we see some protect trade, but you'll notice that I'm not doing any, whatever the heck the institution is that's advancement effort, yeah. I'm not doing any advancement effort. That's deliberate, to basically not speed the progress of institutions that the Ottomans did not readily embrace. I've already talked about in the past, I think, how the Ottomans had no colonies. Really, I mean, they called them colonies, but colonies were for them more like their frontier colonies. So, you know, something like this would be considered a colony because it's basically on the edge of the frontier for them and very far away from Istanbul. In addition to no colonies, they were very, very much against the printing press. So this is not something that they readily embraced. We see some embrace that just happens. I didn't do this. It just happened on its own. I'm not like stopping it. I'm just not helping it. And the Ottomans were very much against the printing press because they felt that it would lead to the publication of heretical religious texts, and that was like a big no-no. We're not going to readily embrace global trade because while they were big on trade, they had, as we mentioned, no trade colonies, no trade companies, and the rest of these I'll just kind of decide as the time comes. So that is really kind of where we're at, and I'm not going to, probably not for any more of these videos, will I do, for any more of these EU4 videos at least, will I do goals. Instead, I'm just going to let you see the video chapters that show up in YouTube and see what we're working on. So let's get to work. Something that we need to start getting ready for now, which occurs in 1589, is a Janissary Revolt. I'm not at all happy about allowing a revolt to happen, especially because my estates are, you know, looking pretty good and I'm able to keep them pretty happy. But history. So we're going to try and make that happen. This is a bit of a challenge. They need to have influence of 100 or more and low loyalty. So how do we get them high influence and low loyalty, which is kind of a challenge. Right now they have a pretty significant loyalty equilibrium based on all the privileges that they have. So I think what I'm going to start experimenting with is revoking some of their privileges. That'll obviously help with the loyalty change. Of course, it'll also revoke some of their influence, so we're going to have to try to not do too much of that. Now, the trouble is, you can't revoke a single privilege until their loyalty is higher than their influences. And that's completely inverted right now, with 76 loyalty and 9, and that's as high as loyalty is currently going. I could open up a Diet, okay, fine, but it continues to increase their loyalty, or their influence alongside their loyalty, which is absolutely pointless. So one of the things I think I can do is change one of my government reforms so that well, we may want to do this expanded Dev Sharma, that's for sure. But we'll do that a little bit later. Change one of my government reforms and go to General Estates, where calling the Diet no longer increases influence. So I'm going to attempt to do that. Fine, done. And then call the Diet and continue to always only do the Janissary proposal. Let's see what that is. Completed when Ottomans gain at least 12 per month. Ew. Okay. What are we gaining now? 8? Well, that's kind of brutal. Okay. I mean, I guess I can switch this. Oh, okay. And promote this guy. And there we go. Alright. So we're going to keep doing that over and over again until we get to the point of what we need. Why did you not? Ottomans gain at least 12 per month. We only have +6. What happened to my +12? Because I changed the wrong thing, because I'm a complete idiot. Okay. Let's do this again. Alright, having screwed up the previous run-through of that, and changing administrative power instead of military power, because I'm stupid, just reloaded back a little bit. We'll re-summon the Diet. We may end up with a different challenge. Probably will. We did. Okay, no problem. So, we're going to go ahead and just fulfill this much easier request. And, you know, fast forward and see that be done. But before that happens, let's go ahead and welcome our new neighbors, Persia. Yay. Now to be our new rivals, hopefully. Persia. Nope. Alright, they're not big enough or important enough. But what we are going to do right away is stop being allied with them. So, time to hate each other and not help you become who you should have been from the very beginning. By 15. So, I mean, Persia really existed in 1501. They're like 60 years too late. So, keep up. In 1567, this event shows up. Murad III's campaigns against Persia. You know, supposedly 1578. The Ottomans were fighting against Persia all the time. On and off, on and off, on and off, all the time. Really what happened was, Persians were their eastern front. We can see that here, right? And then really their western northern front was, you know, either Commonwealth or Austria, and of course Venice. And so, I don't know how Venice got this territory. They must have taken it from Austria. Anyway, so we are not at all going to seek reconciliation. We are going to fan the flames of war. Now, what does Suleymania... Curious about that. Suleymania, where are you? Right there. Okay, interesting. Didn't really read a whole lot about this. There's a lot that should be going on here. In fact, we may just go ahead and start a war right now. Because these people, I think they're, if I recall, they're completely ally-less. They're attacking Circassia. Okay. What if I attack you? Yeah, you're nothing. So we should go ahead and just take them, and I will. What are we going to take here? All of it, really. So anyway, we should be taking this area, and then this area in the Caucasus, and I think it's Kurdistan. Do we have that? Okay, let's see where Kurdistan is. Oh, we already own a lot of that. So these were areas that were fought over quite a bit. So probably this state here, this state, yeah, were fought over quite a bit by the Ottomans and the Persians. So let's go to war with them. Again, this is in Persia, but we need to clean up these borders and make it just an Ottoman-Persian border. And I'm not even going to call allies on this one. That's kind of ridiculous. So prepare to be crushed. While we're in the middle of picking up a few territories in the northeast, we're able to open up our fourth idea group. Whether it's smart or not, I can't say, but I like to just go back and forth. Military, administrative, diplo, military. So we'll open a new military idea. And I think we're going to roll with offensive ideas. Defensive ideas would probably be better in terms of what's coming up in our future, but the Ottomans really constantly thought of themselves as conquerors. And in fact, in this time, let's go ahead and just make the choice. In this time, this became known soon, not until the 1600s, as the time of the Sedentary Sultans, where instead of always being at the head of their army and conquering, sultans had a hard time leaving Istanbul to go to the frontiers, because while they were gone, so-and-so would declare their brother to be the sultan, or so-and-so would rise up in rebellion. And so it's like, they're like, you know, I better just stick around and make sure none of this. But then what happened was, they're not out doing what the Ottomans have been doing best for the past, 400 years, conquering and taking new territory. So it's like, why should we consider you sultan? You just sit around, in the harem all day, which was, true. So anyway, we chose the offensive ideas less because of true historical accurateness or benefit to us, as is going to come in because what's coming up is really a lot of loss, right? But rather I chose it because in the Ottoman mind, that would have been like what they were all about. The year is 1575, and I'm slowly trying to pare down my Janissary privileges to try and finagle this revolt. I'm still not sure I'm going to be able to do it, but anyway, we're going to do something else. Like I mentioned, with the sort of slowing focus, the focus coming off sort of non-stop conquest, one of the things that was done all the time, really, but with a lot more focus placed on it, is building programs. And so in 1572, we're 3 years too late, the Ayasofya, the very famous monument, was upgraded, not in Kokia, but Constantinople. And so I think we can do that. It's going to cost us 5,000 ducats or akçes or whatever it is, but we've saved up enough money, and so let's go ahead and do that from a historical perspective, focused on our building program. And in the meantime, I will continue trying to undermine the loyalty of the Janissaries so that they revolt against me, because I'm super cool and historical like that. The year is now 1596, and I realize I missed a milestone. In 1592 was considered the Muslim millennium. And I believe it was 1,000 years from, I don't know about the founding of Islam, but perhaps it was the birth of the Prophet. I really should research that better. But anyway, sort of like, Christians believed that the Lord was coming back like in 1,000 years. It was sort of the Muslims, the end of all things, and all people will be rewarded according to their good deeds in 1592. And, obviously it came and went. But anyway, during this time, around this time, there was a lot of great social upset, people trying to sort of get right with God, so to speak, and you know, they were building great works, and they were doing charitable works, and there was a lot of social upheaval, which is, you know, led to a lot of revolts and a lot of people saying, you know, trying to take charge. I've been spending, the years have gone by this playthrough pretty slowly because, like I've said so many times, it's really not about expansion anymore, although Persia seems to be expanding like crazy. I should probably do something to check that. Anyway, and one of the other things that contributed to this change was that war became a lot less about hit and run, and a lot more about long, protracted sieges around our good friend in EU4, the fort. And so, if you wanted to go to war, it was a major commitment, and you had to take major logistics and major troops and sit there, you know, and do your siege forever. So a lot of people just started saying, like, meh, maybe not. You know, let's find something else to do instead. And that's why I said a lot of the sultans were no longer riding at the head of their armies, and their armies were sent off to capture cities, and if they failed, it was like you got executed or you got demoted, and the next person, hey, you try again. And of course they're like, I don't know about that. If I'm going to lose a battle and you're going to kill me or demote me, like, why don't you pick the next guy? So instead they stayed home, trying to just sort of intrigue their way to wealth and fame. There hasn't been a whole lot that I can do to make that happen. I've really just been kind of running the clock, doing a few little minor trade skirmishes and that sort of thing. I do really need to put Persia in check here pretty badly. They've invaded Russian territory, so hopefully Russia will put them in check. But anyway, so that's what's been going on. We are queued up to have a Janissary Revolt, which I'm accepting. I almost gave it up, but just through a few random events and everything like that, it seems we're going to do okay. What's our loyalty at? 35. Okay, so we should stay below 50 for a while. And at this point, it's going to show up May 1 of 99. That's 3 years from now. That's 36 months. Maybe we won't have a revolt, because their equilibrium is just insanely high. And so every month by 0.37%. So, yeah. So let's just keep running the clock and hope for the best. Hope that the revolt happens. When's the next time I can seize land? And I suppose I could just seize land again and dump the loyalty. But also, they've got to keep their influence. And I think we're going to lose that. Oh, not until 1608. Alright, so this should happen. It might not be in 1599, but it was supposed to happen in 1589. So we missed it. I just couldn't manufacture the crisis well enough. Let's hope it happens this time. Rounding in on the year 1600, and the Janissary Revolt is set to take place in February. 1600 brings with it a fair amount of brand new stuff, things. Alright, new technology. Also some events that could fire, that are not related to the Janissary Revolt. I've never done the Janissary Revolt before, so let's see what happens. Here we go. Okay. Janissary break free, which again, this did happen in 1589, so we are 11 years too late. We should have seen this coming, and the future lies with them. Okay, so let's see. The Janissaries declare independence in 10 provinces. The country they form will have monarchy government. And then we stay as the Ottomans, or we could switch to them, which we're not going to do. We should have seen this coming, even though I actually planned for it. So, boom. Okay, so they declare, which is pretty funny, room because that's how, if you watch my Crusader Kings series, that's how this whole thing started off. So now it's in the reverse. We're going to kick their butts and take it back. What's this? Okay, this is just random country stuff. We have a conquest, casus belli on that. Oh, and I have my whole army? Okay, well, alright. Not exactly like a huge problem here. Let's see. Oh, and they have a whopping 5k. This is going to go really quickly. So, alright. Not a terribly difficult event. IMO. So, oh, we got a... Oh, we have to sit out a truce with them. Okay, well that's kind of dumb. But, yeah, whatever. So how long... so they form, and then they have an immediate truce. That's probably an independence mechanic. That, and they immediately want help from Venice. And that cracks me up. They're like, hey, buddy, why are you not my rival? We don't want to ally them, that's for sure. We want to bring them back into the fold. Since when do I have a truce with them? 1605 for 5 years. Alright, well, okay, fair enough. So we'll wait it out and just go on about the rest of our business. I was expecting a bunch of like rebels and all that sort of thing. We're going to form our own country in the middle of your country. It's kind of a nice touch. But they should have been given a much larger army than that, because in 5 years they're going to get raffle-stomped, and that's going to be the end of the Janissary Revolt, which is probably pretty accurate because those revolts never really lasted for more than like a year or two. Okay. Well, are you feeling revolted? I'm feeling revolted. Let's keep going. A few flavor events start happening. They start firing after 1600. One is the reforms of Comanches. This is during the reign of Ibrahim, who was known to basically be crazy or simple. And it's really kind of funny. He actually was the Sultan twice. So he became the Sultan, they deposed him, he became the Sultan again, and they deposed him again. Because he was a kook. And so it says here, he started to heed Jinli Hoja, a minor religious official for a reputation with occult powers. So basically he ignored this guy, Comanches, which even though we're going to empower him because Ibrahim's mother, Cossacks Sultana, was really kind of in power at that time. We're not in that era where it's not Murad II. I think we're on Murad III at this point. And Cossacks Sultan's not even in it yet. We do get the chance to have her show up and marry her later on, I think. But anyway, something else to kind of know about this is, as the Sultan sort of started bowing out and spending more time in the harem and all that sort of thing, the pashas and the government rulers really became the true people in power, as well as a lot of the women, the mothers, and members of the harem as well. So that's just a fun little flavor event. 44 years too soon, but yeah, I don't really have control over that. So here in the middle of the war, 1603, is Cossacks Sultan, a Greek slave girl, who became, gosh, was it Murad III? I've got so many names and dates at this time. And yeah, I think it was Murad III's wife. Either that or his mom. Anyway, I'm sorry for all the military noise because we've got the battle going on. Can we get away from that? I can close the war. Okay. So she was special because she embodied this time of the woman behind the scenes, so to speak. Not that that wasn't always happening. Mehmed the Conqueror's mother, if you watch the Netflix series, like I told you to, was really big behind the scenes, Mother Mara. But it was, instead of, oh, she was there and there was this, it was because really, like, there were many weak leaders, and a lot of the women sort of stepped in to fill the gap, so to speak. So we married her. There is an event, I think, where she gets murdered, but I haven't even come across that in my research yet, so we'll see. In 1603, which we're a year past because I got tied up waging war against Persia, the Crimean Tatars, whose horsemen have been major allies for me, they're a march for me right now, they were major allies for the Ottomans, sort of keeping their northern border secure, began to clash with the Cossacks of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. I'm not sure the Commonwealth existed at that point. It's been formed in the game for quite a while now. And so each one of those factions was kind of like the bad boys of the respective. So the Crimean Tatars are my bad boys. They're the Ottoman bad boys, right? And the Cossacks were the Commonwealth Polish bad boys. And so it was somewhat tolerated. Like, okay, you know, they're raiding. Oh, those guys, you know, they were just raiding again. And it was kind of like, as long as those skirmishes didn't bubble over into anything bigger, you know, so be it. But that's exactly what started to happen around the 1603 time frame. We're not going to do anything other than talk about it right now because it's going to increase over time, and probably won't be in this video, but probably in the next video, where the tensions between Ottomans and the Commonwealth finally flow over, and things turn bad. So we'll see you next video for that one. We're not quite done with this one yet. Almost, pretty close. I was hoping to wrap up in 1620. A little bit of a short video this time around. And well, yeah, that's it. I'm done talking. Let's keep going. 1605, the truce with Rome has ended. And so I'm going to take back all my stuff. And what do you know? They don't have any allies, so it's their 6 troops versus my massive Ottoman Empire. Good luck with that, guys. My Crimean bad boys showed up to try and get in on the fight, and it was like, no, sorry, everything's occupied already. We're good, guys. So anyway, we will just simply take all this back. And so much for the Janissary Revolt. Yay, everything's back to normal, everybody's happy. Let's go back and complete our little training regimen. Happy. Here we are in the year 1610. And we're quickly wrapping up this video. A couple more things. The final thing that we're going to do is go back to war against Persia. I'll talk about that in just a second. But in the meantime, we've entered the age of absolutism. So that's kind of interesting and cool. We've already got a huge army, so we're going to get... we're not going to do any trade companies. I will go ahead and do multiple universities because why not? We're certainly not going to be the Emperor of China. I didn't even know that was a dealing. Anyway, one of the things that I do want to do is do this final government reform. Well, it's not the final, right? There's a couple more. This was really hard to choose between for me. None of these really directly apply. The closest... I really looked at this Leviathan one for a while, and I'm just reading the descriptions. And not what they do, but the, you know, life without government, every man for himself, And then I like this, people cede some of their rights to the sovereign for the sake of protection. That's okay, fine. But I kind of like this one the most. Les Six Livres de la République. Obviously, we're not French. But this seemed the closest to be what the Ottomans believed in. They definitely believed in, at least at this time period, in the rule of a single sultan, for sure. But this concept there in the second sentence, the power of the monarch should not be subject to any faction. And good luck, the power of the monarch was definitely a subject. However, where they said, though to some extent limited by institutions to maintain a balance of power between people and the people, or between the ruler and the people. So if there was one here for the Ottomans, it would basically say the entire function of the Sultan in the base Ottoman mindset was to make sure that people saw justice. So you could actually, if you were like a normal quote-unquote person, a civilian, you could actually make a petition in front of the Sultan yourself to basically come before the Sultan and say, hey, your ministers are cheating me out of this, and, you know, whatever. So in concept, and that certainly I'm sure did not develop into reality, but in concept, the Sultan and the government existed to protect the legal rights of the people. So we're going to go ahead and go with that one because I think it's the closest that we can possibly get to it. All right, let's talk about Persia. So the final thing we're going to do in this video is lose, because some of this territory that was taken recently was lost to Persia again. So we're going to fight another war against them as the final piece. I'm going to take it all the way to 1620. I have no idea why Britain is wandering around in the middle of my country, but hello. Anyway, we're going to... I should see what they're up to. Oh, not even at war against anybody. They're just taking a tour. They're making pilgrimage to Mecca. It's that way. Go down south. Anyway, the final thing that we're going to do is lose to Persia and lose some of the land that we conquered, because the back and forth between Persia was literally that, back and forth. And so we need to lose a little bit of territory to them, which I'm kind of bummed out for, but yeah, there you go. So we're going to do that, and when that's done, call this video quits. Let's fast forward. This is cracking me up. I think that this dude really is making pilgrimage. Where's he going? See, he's headed for Mecca. He's converting to Islam. Let's see if he goes. It's just the stupidest thing. I'm weird like this. No, turn left. Nope. Alright. He's not making pilgrimage. I was wrong. Alright, back to our regularly scheduled program. In fact, I was wrong about something else, too. Not to bring you back in. We're not going to fast forward. In fact, I think I'm just going to end it. Because this division here, where the east side of the Caucasus belonged to Persia and the west side belonged to the Ottomans, is accurate. They did a bunch of back and forth, and Baghdad changed hands quite a few times. And will be won by the... What is this? Okay, whatever. I'll go ahead and just lose legitimacy, because legitimacy, like, so doesn't matter to me. Anyway, okay, here's the Great Britain guy. The war has changed, firearms, right? Okay, whatever. Anyway, Baghdad will fall to the Persians, but then be put back again, or, you know, returned to the Ottomans. And remember, I said when it's a bunch of back and forth and it's inconclusive wars, I'm not really interested in ping-ponging that all that much. If we just keep it, let's go. What is up with all these British people headed for non-war related stuff? Are they explorers or something? No. Just okay. Sure. Okay, whatever. I'm totally squirreling on this, and I apologize. So, this video was supposed to end at 1620. But I don't think there's any reason to just keep going. I'm going to end my playthrough at 1620, and we're going to start the next video a lot further ahead in time. But for now, we'll go ahead and just call it. I'd like to thank my one viewer for watching. And we are going to end right now in 1611, but we should have ended in 1620. And I'll just remind everybody that this is the largest that the Ottoman Empire ever got and ever will get. One other thing, too, just as we're wrapping up the video, there will be no more missions completed at all. We will do nothing else, because that's as far as it went. There will be no Eyalet of Al-Andalus. There will be no Pax Ottomana. And a few other things. So we're mostly just going to be declining and going downhill for the next, like, 300 years. I'm super excited about it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a good one.